Welcome, welcome everyone. I'm so glad you could be with me today. I've got somebody very special here with me. He is a warrior, nonetheless, of anything that I could think to describe him. He's come up here fairly recently in our community to take on the beast head on, and he's doing it rather voraciously, I would say. So I've got Daniel Lee with me today, and we're going to talk, but before we get too far into it, I know a bunch of my subscribers are going to start to ask the questions, okay? Yes, I got an injury this morning. We had a storm come in. Most of you are aware that I'm off-grid, and my panel array is turnable, and in order to protect it, T and I went out there as it was getting ready to dump rain, and we were out there trying to tie it down, and I went to duck underneath it, and I jammed my head right up against the corner, put about an 1.5 inch gash in it, and I want to tell you, what's the old saying, I bled like a stuck pig? Well, we both had panic moments, ran inside, I mean, blood's all coming down my head like you wouldn't believe, and we did some emergency work, and that's for those who are being prepared. Think about this. I mean, you know, when the shit hits the fan, when the poo happens to splat, being able to get services like this, know what you need to do for your own first aid. Basically, I did my own cleanup, even though I literally have an 1.5 inch gash to my scalp, and a lot of people are going to go, "Oh my God, Erin." Well, I'm good. Everything's fine. No worries. You know, I take my licks and keep on ticking. And you know, T was asking me, well, do you want to put off this call with Daniel? And I'm like, no, and I can't. And the reason I can't is because this information is steamrolling its way through, and we really need to stay on focus. We need to be our warriors in the best way we can. So for me, this is not that big an issue. What's more important is I have an opportunity to speak with somebody today and help get this message out of the battle that we're up against. So we're going to be doing this in such a way that Daniel gets to post it on his site, and I'm going to post it on mine. So we're going to do some mutual introductions for each other. So because we're hello, Daniel. Nice to meet you. We are all getting to know each other, and so briefly, let me start off for all of those who will be seeing me. I am a, I want to say retired or ex-surveyor, civil engineer who has been for the last 10 years since the last major financial hiccup, been preparing to change my life, my lifestyle, the way I live, my dependency on the systems that we all have been dependent on, specifically the grid. I went and started up my own solar company, so I install solar, and I grow my own food, and we've learned about how bad the attacks have been on the populations via the chemicals and the GMOs and stuff. So I've been working to try and make people healthier, make my own life healthier, share this information. For the last 5 years on my YouTube channel, I have been putting up all the systems for basically making a sustainable homestead, so that, you know, when things do happen, like we saw in the Carolinas with the hurricane and such, that we're not taken off our feet so drastically. That's what I've been sharing until recently. I've started doing a lot of talking about the geopolitical and the economic and those issues, because we're getting near the end of this game, friends. We are, and the head of the battle is about to hit hard. So we had an issue, and first off, or next, why don't you introduce yourself there, Daniel?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Daniel Lee. My YouTube channel is sort of hard to pronounce because it's an anagram, but it's Dangeline7. Basically, I've had a YouTube channel for many years, since about 2007, and it was only, you know, pointed toward introducing Christians to the Hebrew Jewish roots of the Christian faith, and talking about Torah and its relevancy to today, and walking in the spirit. But primarily a Christian Jewish channel. But when Isaac Cappy came out, who is a sort of a low-level Hollywood insider, and decided to start exposing his personal one-on-one experiences with people he knew were pedophiles, like with Seth Green, who's an A-list actor, I started watching him in late July, and through watching him and watching then through him, I found out about Fiona Barnett, who's another just amazing woman who's been coming out for decades exposing this stuff. Fiona Barnett, by the way, was raped by Billy Graham and Richard Nixon, some very high-level people. Found out about her, found out about Sarah Ashcraft, who was raped by Tom Hanks. And as I began watching this stuff in late July, it's like the spirit just hit me, and I felt like God just said, you know what? I want you right now to exclusively focus on exposing these pedophiles. And I didn't even know about the Luciferian stuff at that point, but exposing these pedophiles and protecting the children. And I thought, okay. And I was sharing with Erin before we started the interview. I said, or the discussion. I said, yeah. I figured I'd make a few videos, maybe get a couple hundred views, which was normal for the amount of views I would get on typical videos. I only had 2,500 subscribers, and that took me, since 2007 to get. And then I thought it would be done. Well, within just a few days of dropping these videos, I realized this was turning into a much bigger thing. And since July 31st, it's gone from 2,500 to over 20,000 subscribers. So I personally am just really happy that there's such an awakening about this issue. Of course, my eyes have been opened to a whole bunch of stuff now that I've been able to talk to Fiona. Fiona contacted me personally. I was able to talk to her and others, and now I learn about the Luciferian side of it, the pedivore, all the stuff that was just like, it's so dark, and yet it needs to be exposed and stopped. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Excellent. My partner and I, we've been following this information because, I'm acquainted with and friends with Sean over at SGT Report, and I follow his work immensely, and he's been a warrior in bringing to light a lot of this information. And a few months back, when the pedivore aspect of it was shown, and Sean did a few of those interviews, or a few of his videos that were of clips of films that even now to think of it starts to give me chills, and my stomach starts to knot up. I almost get nauseous. Both of us, we were sitting here watching it one evening, and because I feel like I have to know, even though as ugly and nasty as it is, I want to know the truth, and it's not easy to, and I can understand why a large percentage of our population says it's all BS, because it is a lot. It is a tremendous amount to handle, to stomach, and to deal with. And both of us literally almost threw up in our mouths when we were, when Sean was presenting this information. So I can't do those topics because I'd have to shoot somebody. I really, if I get into it, I would have to do, like I was telling you earlier, I need to focus on helping people make this transition. I know that's what I was told to do when I had my near-death experience. I was told by whatever higher power there is, you can't come home. Because I wanted to come home. It was ugly, it was disgusting. I've been treated like shit most of my life because of my differences. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I don't need to be. It's a better place back home. Let me go home. And no, I was told, you've been getting too many gifts. Your job is to help people. You, my friend, I think have been charged, as you've stated, with taking this battle on headlong, my friend. And that's not you have to have a stomach of iron to go up against this, because it is when all the details start to come out, it's going to be horrific, my friend.
Yeah, I think, and what I try to, because I do get sort of almost inundated with an avalanche of comments of people saying that, what are you doing, Daniel? You're going to get killed. You're going to get murdered. You're so, you're you're crazy, you know, this is insane and all this stuff. And all I can say is, look, Yahweh told me to do this, and he told me that as long as I do this, he's going to protect me. And I don't, I mean, obviously I understand wisdom has to come into play, but I'm not ruled by fear. I'm ruled by love, and that's what's driving me. For me, protecting these innocent little children is about the most important thing that I could be doing. So I just say, look, this is how I'm being told to do, and I've got to do it. It's like I don't even have a choice. It's just this is what's got to be done.
Yeah, I truly understand it, because I don't even need to be doing my YouTube channel, and I could walk away from it and find a lot more peace, because it's not easy when you put yourself out there for the naysayers, the people who come in to want to tear you down personally, because I don't know why they do. And T asks me all the time, why would somebody give you a thumbs down because you're trying to help people in this way? I mean, you've gotten thumbs downs on your videos, and I'm thinking, why? Who and what in their right mind is thinking that's a thumbs down? I mean, why would you not be in support of wanting to it just baffles me. I can't wrap my head around it.
I think a lot of it has to do with people just don't want to accept this. They don't want to accept that. And the thing is, you have to acknowledge the sickness before you can get the cure. You have to acknowledge that there's a problem. If we're not even going to acknowledge that this stuff's going on, how are we ever gonna get it stopped? It's like if you go to a doctor and he tells you that, oh yeah, you got this in, you say, oh, I don't accept that doctor. That's not going to work. You're never gonna get the cure. So I think a lot of it has to do with that. I know personally with my own channel, I've gotten a lot of negativity from people saying, oh, Daniel, you're not proving this. You're just doing this for sensationalism, which to me boggles my mind, because under literally almost every video I do, I provide an array of links and documents that go right to establishing what I'm talking about. But people either don't want to look at the links, or then they make excuses this isn't true, or it goes on and on and on and on. And finally, I've just sort of almost made a personal decision to say, I'm just going to just keep steamrolling ahead, keep providing this stuff, and either people are going to accept it or not. And it seems like the majority of people, at least based on how much my subscribers have increased, are accepting it, and not to get bogged down by all these negative trolls out there.
Yeah, somebody made the comment to me and said, because I was expressing from the heart in a video I did the other day about how tough it is to deal with it, because for me and my channel, this is my community, and I accept all from a positive, loving perspective, and I accept different beliefs, different opinions, as long as we don't attack each other. But I got some brutal attacks. I mean, very brutal attacks when I started posting the video on those documents, and that's what brought us together, was those Bush documents. And based on my knowledge, my experiences, and my information, what's going to come down is not going to be what everybody thinks it's going to be, and it's got to come down from a different perspective. So I can't disclaim the viability. I mean, I think it was at least 6 of my subs that sent me individually from different directions that file and said, Erin, check this out, and I gave it a read over. And there's a lot of differences in it, but it's there for a reason. And like I said, regardless of whether it's 100% true or not, it came out for a reason. There is a reason it's there. It's an initial opening of a conversation at a minimum, and that's all I suggested. But I got lambasted from it, and then after that video came out, one of the guys, a friend of mine in California, he sent me an email with your link, and I was sitting here with my partner, and I was just stomach's knotted all up from just the puking of comments that were coming onto that video, and and I was like, I'm just going to take the video down. Well, it was within a few seconds or a minute of that I got my email in with your link, and I went and watched your link, and then it was like, thank you. I mean, I had to say thank you for standing strong, because I was in a point where I was about ready. Okay, I'm done with this, because it was just insanely obnoxious. So I don't know. I appreciate, and I want you to understand that. That's why I contacted you, and I sent everybody over to say, go see him, because you had the strength to explain it, and I was behind my own tongue on that, and I was like, I don't know how I want to attack this. So
yeah, that was actually my second video on the topic, because the first video I made, which just simply said Bush Sr. and then labeled the actual court docket, I got so attacked, not just by trolls, but even by my longtime subscribers. I mean, literally, I was getting so much pressure to take that down, and I was almost on the verge of doing so, and then literally, I started praying, actually, because I was, I'm fully ready to admit if I ever get disinformation or whatever, because I want my viewers to know the truth, and I want to be as authentic and honest as possible, because part of this movement is also bringing back what real journalism was always intended to be, and that we haven't seen in a long time in this country. And so, but then what happened was I made that second video. It was literally late at night, because it all just sort of came together as I was reading through the documents. And then I realized, oh yeah, because I had known about this illegal maritime admiralty law that our whole judicial system has been under for so many years. In fact, it actually goes back not just to World War II, but it even goes back to almost, I think, 1871. But basically, it's this system that's kind of crept in, and it really became in full force in World War II. They started putting the gold fringe around the American flag, which is completely illegal. It puts us in a completely different type of law system, and now we've become this corporation. And so all this stuff started flooding in. I was like, yes, that's the answer. And so that's when I made that video explaining that these court documents, the reason they have it, because people are saying, well, there's no stamp, there's no signature. Well, yeah, the reason there's no stamp or signature is because these documents have not yet been filed. And they will not be filed until we revert back to the common law, constitutional law that we should have always been under, by the way.
Yeah.
But the globalists and the Rothschilds and stuff have slowly and steadily crept this illegal maritime law upon us. And that's why we live in a court system where people can make false accusations and have their children taken away from them. Okay, I know parents all across the nation who have their children taken away from them because of maybe their religious beliefs or whatever. They haven't hurt their children, but they get type of whatever. The reason that's happening is because we're in a maritime admiralty law that is completely different from what our founding fathers intended.
So I want to share something with your subscribers, because mine have seen this, and I'm going to encourage your subscribers to do some understanding of the different kinds of law and what we're up against, and what's going to change and how it's going to go back to something different, by giving you two sources of information to go learn up, basically. The first one is, I don't know if you're familiar with Sarah Westall, but
yes, I love her. I love her show.
Okay, so her interviews with now I'm going to lose his name. David. David. I'm going to pull a total blank on this. Prime Minister David Williams. There we go. Who created his own country? So he went around. He understood this whole process. And he went to create his own, basically withdraw himself from the legalized enslavement that we have been enforced to through our birth certificates and all the licensures and permission slips that we're forced to go through to even exist in this matrix that we're in. So I'm going to recommend that everybody go, I think Sarah's got some playlists up there, and just listen to him about what he talks about is the system that we're tied in. The next thing, and this is why I didn't dismiss this document for sure, because the next thing I understood was that there are ways that you can legally work in and through and around in between the multiple systems. And I just had a few weeks back a man by the name of Mark Emery on my channel to discuss how we can navigate out of and out from under this illegal the illegal legal system that we're in, the one that we're forced to be under. And I had him on for an hour and a half, and we just breezed through for a few of his topics. His YouTube channel is Lighthouse Law. Lighthouse Law. Lighthouse Law, I think it is. And what I even sent this document over to him. I'm waiting for him to get prepared. I sent him my videos, your videos, and all the information and that document. And he's going to look it over, and he's going to talk to us. I've got to, as soon as he's ready, I'm going to have him back on my channel so that we can actually dig into this and discuss it a little bit better. So that's the wonderful thing about what's happening here. As you expressed, Daniel, there are a lot of pieces and parts that are coming together right now. For unfortunately, what I'm going to say is going to be a hell of a battle when it all takes place. But so those people who are still programmed by this matrix to believe and think that things have to happen this way, you need to start preparing your mind for things to work another way. So give those resources a go over. My videos are on my channel, and then Sarah Westall's. I think they will open eyes in ways that, what you stated by your research and your documents did for you.
Absolutely. And one other YouTube channel, Stony Stone, his YouTube channel, Stone, has actually also done his own video on the Bush Senior documents, and he actually got it from another source than I did. So it's coming out from multiple different sources. It's not just because people kept saying, well, this is just one document, no one else is reporting on it. Daniel, how do you have the exclusive, cap on the truth? And it's not. It's coming out all over. Everyone's reporting on it. Maybe I was one of the first to report on it. I don't know. It almost felt that way because I had it seemed like I had the entire weight of the truther community coming down on me and wanting to basically crucify me. But it's something that you touched upon about this battle. It's like it is hard because you're not only coming against the Luciferian pedophiles and the things that we all agree are evil, but you're also coming against a lot of these truthers and alternative news that have been here for a while that also are coming against you because they can't accept some of the stuff that they haven't been talking about. And I know there's a lot of great people in the truther community and in the alternative media. Sarah Westall, I think, does a fabulous job. I subscribed to her weeks ago. And there's a lot of people out there. Dustin Nemos, I think, does an excellent job. So there's a lot of people out there that I like. But, boy, if you put something out there that the so-called alternative or truth community doesn't initially accept, they sure do bring the hammer down on you. It's pretty...
There are some comments that I left up because I think they were honestly trying to be concerned about it, and there were some comments that well, it needs to be vetted. Well, that's what we're doing. We're vetting right now. We are going through the digging of it to vet those things. So right. That's part of it. So the like I said, I did 2 videos, and my second one was. Many of your subs have seen this one, but, so you think that those documents are fake. I apologize because it was late at night when I first did mine, but when I saw the documents, not the first time, I got once, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Then I got it again, and from 6 different people that emailed it to me or sent it to me in a comment or whatever, and something kind of like what you said, it hits you. Your words would be, well, God spoke to me. Well, maybe that was God speaking to me that, hey, there's something to this that I really need to dig in. And so I got a little bit zealous about it, and I was like, oh, look, and instead of phrasing it as a question, I was a little more phrasing it as, this is it, and that's not my normal way of doing it. Okay, we're still diving into it, but it's there for a reason. It is absolutely there for a reason because we do know what's in the documents is truth.
Absolutely. And think about the subject of the document itself, Bush Sr. I mean, this guy we're talking going all the way back to when he helped out with the JFK assassination. This guy's the head of, of literally the cabal in the United States in terms of all the, I mean, you think Hillary Clinton's evil. Bush Sr. makes her look like a school child. I mean, so we're talking about one of the top heads of the food chain. So no wonder there's such a backlash. And I know a lot of people in the truth community understand how evil Bush Sr. is. And they were saying, well, Daniel, this is just wishful thinking. But, like what you're saying and what I've been discovering is if we just dig a little bit deeper and we understand what's going on, and especially in the context of this awakening that's happening, we can find that there's a reason that these were released. And I do believe we're going to revert back to the common law, the constitutional law, that these papers will be filed, and we will see Bush Sr. indicted. I hope before he dies, because I know he's an old man. But I do. At least I'm praying for that. I'm praying and hoping for that's gonna occur.
I'm praying right along with you, my friend. I know it's going to occur. The big question is, for the individuals that we know are at the top of this heap of poo, I'd like to see it happen before they just get to pass away naturally. I want to see it happen. I want to see Daddy Bush, Bush Jr., Obamas, the Clintons. I want to see all of those individuals basically on public display, swinging freely in the breeze.
It needs to happen. And by the way, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been heavily criticized, especially from either Christians or just people who describe themselves as spiritual, about me calling for public executions. Look, first of all, this would not be vigilantism. Okay, we would have trials, prosecutions, cross-exam. I mean, everything would be done legally. Okay, and then once they've been found guilty, okay, the reason I'm advocating for a public execution is because, first of all, if you study our history, we did have public executions. Okay, they would even do public flogging. Okay, in early colonial America. And the reason why crime was so low is because these executions and floggings were done in public. So people were like, whoa, I better not do that, right?
Yeah.
Guarantee you start publicly executing these high-level pedophiles, you are going to stop this problem in its tracks. It's just a logical thing. And for those of you out there who are Christians, this is a biblical thing, okay? I'm not making this up. This is in Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible. Very clear. The law laid down, if you take a life, your life is counterfeit. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there, because I've been getting a lot of people saying that I'm just trying to start a French revolution and do vigilantism, which that's absolutely not what I'm doing at all. It's called justice, and by doing this also publicly, the SRA victims out there will get healing. They will get healing by seeing their abusers brought to justice.
Yeah, it'll be. It needs to be done all out in the public eye, and there needs to be justice. It really needs to be. These people have hurt so many people. It's not even funny. It's the level of the punishment has to equal the level of the crime.
That's right.
And because there is a thing called karma in my book, and you get what you put out. What you do unto others will come back to you, and right. It's just for us. It would be nice to see that happen here, so that we can know in our hearts that these people will know it. These people will know it before they die.
Right. Yeah, what you call karma, I would quote scripture that says, what we sow is what we reap.
You got
it. And it is time for these people to be held accountable for crimes, because this has literally been going on. Well, the Luciferian pedophilism has been going on for centuries, unfortunately, even thousands of years. But within this country, it's been going on for decades and decades, and we cannot accept a reality in which our leaders in D.C. and our entertainment leaders in Hollywood get it, and we just accept it. That just we can no longer live in that type of reality. And one thing I really liked about the interview that I had with Michael Whalen, and if your subscribers don't know who Michael Whalen is, he's literally an SRA victim up in Portland from when he was a young boy. But he actually, several years later and recently, has been exposing Voodoo Donuts, which is a donut chain up in Portland that is a cover for a child sex trafficking ring. And he's been harassed and hounded because the police up in Portland are very corrupt. But one point he really made that I thought it just really impacted me a lot is, while it's great that we're doing things like this on YouTube and channels and stuff like that, we also need to remember that we got to get out off the internet and go out into the real world and do stuff too.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this November 9th, 2018 stand in front of the White House. It's because I want to do something where I'm doing something in real, not to say that the internet's not real, but do something that's really visible and in real life and is outside of our community, so that we're not just talking into an echo chamber, but that we're really getting this stuff out. And so I think that's really important for all of us to try to remember. Not that we're all called to buy an airplane ticket and go to the White House, but that we can do things within our community, I think, and within our influence of people, whether it be friends or family or whatever, outside of the internet, to get this word out.
Absolutely. Like I said, I think we all have our different callings. My calling is going to be what T and I like to do. I'm very engineering minded, so for me it's going to be building and fixing things and that kind of thing. But together, immediately you reap what you sow, and we like to sow beet seeds and carrot seeds and beans and squash and that kind of thing. That, to me, that's a much easier thing for me to focus on. And because you're going to take this on headlong, I want all of my subscribers to know that if you want to support a what I consider a legitimate stand against this, I would highly recommend you support Daniel here in his efforts. He's going to be flying to DC to put it out there to support Trump. Will you explain? Let's move into that. Why don't you explain your little project that you've got going on and how big we can maybe support and make it?
Yeah, and I need to ask my subscribers and maybe your subscribers, I need to think of a really good name for this so I can start maybe making a hashtag and we can like actually call it something. But basically what my idea is, and this was just, I had this interview with Michael Whalen a couple days ago, and based off that interview, it really kind of inspired me, like, okay, what can I do outside just internet? And I just started praying, and I really feel like this inspiration came from God. But basically what I'm doing is, and I've already bought my plane ticket, is I'm planning to head down to DC. I'm going to fly in on Thursday, November 8th, and then the event is going to occur on November 9th. It's going to start at noon, right in the middle of the day. So 12 p.m., November 9th, Friday. And we're going to stand in the legal public sidewalk that's right in front of the White House, where normally protesters would stand. We're going to make it very obvious that we're not protesting Trump, but that we're here to say we want these Luciferian pedophiles taken down. So I developed a chant that we could all basically start chanting, which is, we support you, President Trump, bring down the Luciferian pedophiles, and just keep repeating that over and over and over and over again. And then do some modifications of that, like protect the innocent children from the Luciferian pedophiles. I really want to put Luciferian pedophiles in there because that term is not being used in the mainstream media at all. Yeah. And I'm hoping that we're going to get the attention of the news media too, depending on how many people we can get to go down there. And also whether Trump is at the White House or not that day, I don't know. But I guarantee you Trump is going to hear about it.
I know he is.
There's no way he's not going to hear about it. And my hope is that he hears this and he says, Well, I've been waiting for my supporters to do this. Great. Now that there's this outcry right in front of my White House, I'm going to start being even more aggressive about this, because I tell you, the government knows for every American that pays that much money to show up there, it represents thousands and thousands of other Americans. So even if you only had a small group of people, they know that represents a huge block of the American populace. So I just thought that this was a very real and practical way to put this issue in the limelight, do it right in front of the White House. And I do believe, just because of my own beliefs based on the Bible, that when you shout out words of truth and power, it makes a difference. Because, and I don't want to get too religious on everyone here, but if you read the book of Acts, you have a small band of fishermen who began to preach, and they literally turned the Roman Empire upside down. So, I've gotten people that have contacted me and said, Daniel, this is not going to do a bit of good. You're not going to make any difference. You're probably going to get yourself killed. And I tell you, I do not believe that's the case. I believe this is going to do a lot of good.
I think you have the power behind you. You would say it from Yeshua. I believe it's from love and goodness, and you've got my support, because it's sick and it's got to end. And so therefore, I think I'm gonna label this video "Taking a Stand Against the Luciferian Pedophiles." I think that will be the title of it.
That's great.
And for all of my family that's on YouTube, please share this, get his information out, because we have to take a stand. And some of us have different roles to play, and for those of us who have to be in front of the firing lines, it's not going to be an easy thing. Hopefully this battle is done in such a way that, as we've heard through some of the other sources, Dave Janda and some others that we've talked about, that it is a one foul swoop, that this thing is a big, shocking, bring it down big event. If that happens, then if that happens, it tickles. If that happens, it's going to rock this country. But we could in a very short time span, clean up a lot of the mess.
I agree. I totally agree, and I'm really grateful, Erin, that you invited me to set up this discussion, because I think the more of us who start talking about this and making videos like this, and really start acknowledging that we're on the same team here in terms of taking down these Luciferian pedophiles, the greater that this movement will become. We really need to understand that this is the most important issue that's out there right now. I mean, I just can't stress that enough. And so I encourage my subscribers too to support Erin in this, and in helping and getting this issue out there. And really grateful for you setting this up, Erin.
It's been my pleasure for anybody who's watching. My biggest thing has been trying to help people make and take physical changes in their world. We talk a lot about the monetary system on my channel of gold and silver, but more so, I've got videos upon videos upon videos of systems that you can put in place to strengthen yourself, because we have become extremely dependent on the centralized systems, and they're easily they're fragile, and they're easily screwed around with, and it knocks people off their feet, because they don't know how to live a simple life the way it used to be when people were, especially the people who founded this country, the independent-minded people who came out here to this country and homesteaded it, who found a way to make it out here and conquer this land from a physical and spiritual direction. And that path got lost, and we need to find it back. We need to find our roots spiritually back in connection with Mother Earth um, in the way that we have damaged her so badly, because we get all our nourishment and nutrients through the earth from that perspective, and then our hearts from our spiritual perspective. Those two things need to come back together to reground us out, get our heads wrapped around what we are as far as spiritual creatures on this physical journey that we're on.
That's a really good point you bring up, because even in the Bible, the Revelation, it says that Yah is going to destroy those who destroy the earth. And, there's been such a destruction of the earth because we haven't, one thing is when you farm the land, you're supposed to let it rest every 7 years, and because we haven't done that, even when we eat our organic food, it's so lacking in nutrients because we've been raping the soil. So I'm really glad that you're centered on that, because it's a huge issue.
It is, because our health, our joy, and our happiness is all a matter of what we put into ourselves. Yeah. And not just the food, but the everything, our entire environment, the media, ideas, everything. Everything that we put into us affects us, and we need to clean it up. And not everything's going to be cut and dry, black and white in one category, but together the best we can. We take little steps as we can in different areas to come back to a more centered, grounded, and spiritually focused world.
Amen. Couldn't have said it.
So let's wrap this up, because we don't want to dilute anything, because it's been very powerful. All of you that are capable of supporting this, please go to Daniel's channel, and because he's getting ready to put himself out there in front of the main. We'll see if they even show up to cover it.
I don't know if they will.
Probably not, because it would mean they'd have to talk about it, and that's why I think like these documents that we've seen don't get put out there, because then you have to talk about it. And that's the whole point, is to get the conversation going. And that's what I was trying to make a point of in my videos. So, Daniel, thank you so much for joining me in our community conversation here. I don't see this as like, we want to say interview, but it's not an interview. This is us, getting around and helping each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I think that's about all I've got. Daniel, I'm sub to your channel, so I'm going to be following your journey. There's plenty of time for everybody to get on board, and I wish you all the blessings.
Thank you so much, Erin, and I'm sub to your channel as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing as well.
Be blessed.
You too. Thank you.